All righty, guys. So Missouri goes out there and they get Beau Pribula to be presumably their starting quarterback in the year 2025. And Beau played at Penn State, played very admirably as a backup to Drew Aller for a while, but Beau would even get on the field, had a very nice game against Wisconsin. He's an accurate passer. He's incredibly mobile, very smart and savvy. Like, I watched Beau Pribula at a camp the year that Aller and Beau were coming out, which was like 2021. And at a camp setting, like, he was okay. I was like, okay, this is the Penn State quarterback here. I was like, okay, he's throwing like an Ivy League kind of quarterback. And I mean that in the just most honest. And I mean, because his arm strength doesn't, like, in a camp setting, it's not going to completely wow you when he's throwing in shorts. But get out to the field, and I was wrong on Beau. He massively belongs because the guy is a dual threat quarterback to the nth degree. All right, really a dual threat quarterback. And his instincts are what impresses me about the position, and that's why it's so hard to evaluate quarterback, because if it was easy as watching it in a camp, every NFL evaluator would mostly hit on it, kind of like a running back. But Beau is just so savvy, and he's fun to watch, and he's a guy that I root for. Nice kid. He's from Pennsylvania like I am, and yeah, I mean, he's been a great teammate to Drew Aller throughout this process, and you can even argue that in some games, like the offense, even with Beau, rivaled Drew Aller. So it was kind of a loss when they lost Beau Pribula, and really, you saw how much respect they had for him there. Andy Kotelnicki would get him on the field in a lot of packages at Penn State. So he's played a lot of valuable reps at a place like Penn State. Now, do I worry about the arm strength a little bit? Sure. But Beau's going to be a guy that's going to be efficient. He's going to get the ball to the tight end position. He's going to try to hit people on wheel routes, down the field. And that's what Beau's going to do. So Beau's going to get the ball out of his hands quickly. Now, here's the thing that you got to ask yourself about Beau Pribula going to the SEC. The SEC last year was stacked with, what I think, great quarterbacks and great offensive coordinators. Let's look back at how they did in the SEC. Graham Mertz and DJ Lagway, both quarterbacks, both talented players. They did all right, but Mertz was hurt. You had Billy Napier calling plays, very good play caller. Carson Beck and Mike Bobo, the coordinator at Georgia. Massive failure for Carson Beck, honestly. People were expecting Carson to be in the Heisman conversation. He went out there against Ole Miss, and it was a slogfest. It was ugly. All right, so he went out there against Bama, didn't do that well. Now, against Tennessee, he was able to put it together. There weren't great wide receivers, didn't love the scheme, but the SEC defenses kind of ate Carson Beck alive last year. So with the expectation of Beck, it wasn't great. Quinn Ewers in the system with Sark, one of the best play callers. It wasn't even that smooth for Quinn Ewers in SEC play. Conor Wegman, not good. Quarterback also of Missouri, Brady Cook, who's kind of similar skill set to Beau, not even that good and got hurt. So what quarterbacks were really that good? Jalen Milroe, experienced starter, had his highs for sure, just like Garrett Nussmeier, but also had their lows. So the SEC is kind of like the NFL, where the old SEC, you can get a great quarterback, and without Oklahoma, without Texas, without transfer portal NIL, you can go in there and really have like a league where you could say, okay, this is a college offense that is really, really fun to watch. And we're going to have a quarterback that's going to be in 11 games and play lights out. Now, maybe the COVID year, having fifth-year seniors playing defense, maybe that caused a lot of turmoil, but the defense is the physicality of the SEC, is not conducive to really good quarterback play. You look at the ACC, they might have less talented quarterbacks and wide receiver, but their defenses are not as good, so you can have great quarterback play. You look at the Big 12, like you can have Shedeur Sanders, you can have Sam Leavitt, you can have Rocco Becht. Like the Big 12, Sawyer Robinson. You can put up better offense in all of those leagues than SEC play. So for Beau, is he going to be able to win games? Is he going to be able to do it at a high level? Now, the one quarterback that actually put up numbers in the SEC is Jackson Dart. So Jackson with the Jackson Dart, I could argue, was the best quarterback in the SEC. Even though Texas, even though Georgia, Tennessee are advancing, Jackson Dart, like against Arkansas, went off, like had one of his great games. Against, let me think of where else he had great games. I mean, Jackson Dart, even against Georgia, played pretty well. Against South Carolina on the road, like played tremendously. So the SEC is going to be a league I wouldn't want to coach in it anymore because you're going to end up losing one or two games every single year. There's not going to be a dominant team. That's my theory in the SEC. People just act like this year every SEC team was a bunch of good teams, not great. What team's going to honestly be great in the SEC? Maybe we'll see Garrett Nussmeier and LSU. That's the only team that can have potential. So going back to our discussion about Beau Pribula, how good can Beau really be? Can he ever be better than what Brady Cook was a couple of years ago? I think that he'll be a fun kind of quarterback, and especially, if you really, Mattzers does have a big arm. He's kind of thin. Like, I'm not in love with Zollers, the prospect, but like Zollers has those like rare traits that are, those wow, like go to a camp and watch him throw traits. But it's going to be fun. I'm excited to see Pribula. He absolutely deserves the chance because he's been like a really good quarterback at Penn State when he's been inserted. If he were to go to a Baylor or Texas Tech, the offense could absolutely explode if he were in a Big 12 system that rewarded him. If he went to the ACC, I think he could absolutely maybe tear it up. In the SEC, he's going to be playing better competition. He does have a really good scheme fit with Kirby Moore and with Eli Drinkwitz. So how consistent can it be? And against these great defenses, how is it going to go? I'm going to rate this one a B higher to a B plus, but I'm going to rate a solid B because I think he's going to be fine. But again, when you play in like an NFL, like the SEC is like the NFL in terms of just the depth of their defenses and the NILs and everybody's kind of the same, it's kind of really hard to tell like what quarterbacks are really, really good because they're all going to drop a few games. They're all going to be high and low. It's not like the ACC where I can tell, all right, Kyle McCord was great. Malik Murphy was great. It's not like the Big 12 where I can say Sam Leavitt, Shedeur, Sawyer Robinson are great quarterbacks, and the other ones you could take it or leave it. So, Beau Pribula, I think, in the non-con can survive and be fine, but can he thrive? And if he thrives, I'll be wrong. But I think he's going to be okay. I think he'll be an average SEC quarterback, which isn't bad. If he were in the ACC and you got, say that Haynes King went on to graduate and he were at Georgia Tech, I would say Beau Pribula might be like an awesome A quarterback for this situation in this league. So I think that Beau is fine. I think he could be a really good point guardy college quarterback, almost like Trace McSorley kind of was way back in the day. What other kind of gamey, cagey, smaller quarterbacks do you have to look back on? Could we maybe say like Ian Book at Notre Dame, or trying to even think about some of the quarterbacks, that played? Connor Shaw is a good one of South Carolina. Like, let's think of a smaller quarterback that can move around, that's a real dual threat. Man. Avery Johnson, like a little bit kind of small and fun kind of quarterback. What guys are like those, mobile, pain-in-the-ass quarterbacks to play that are going to be smart, that are going to take care of the football, that play a lot in college, that are beloved, smaller quarterbacks? Oh, man, I should be able to think of some more off the top of my head here. I'm going to try to think of one other one. I mean, Huntley at Utah. Huntley at Utah is not a bad one. Not a bad option. Real kind of mobile. Want to go Forson, the quarterback at Northwestern, maybe? So, you guys can comment down below. All right, so I'm going to rate this a B on the scale. All right? And that is Beau Pribula going to Missouri.